Hello, this is Raymond, New York Times top 10 bestselling author with number 10 in the series of 16, Be Grateful. And you'll notice it's not the traditional background. Why? Because I'm grateful for my cat. And I'm grateful that she, when my wife's not home, she just stays near me, sits on my lap, and just wherever I am, she's there. I'm grateful for my beautiful home. And I'm grateful for my wife and my daughter and my family and my loyal clients. I have 40,000 clients around the world. I'm grateful for my staff. I have a small staff of 9, and 3 of us have been together for almost 25 years. I'm grateful for my health, for my strength. Like, think about it. How is it possible? I'm 73 years old right now, and last year I did an 11-minute plank. Well, at 72, I did an 11-minute plank, and at 18, I couldn't do it. And at 62, I raced 350 miles by foot to the North Pole, a month-long foot race to the North Pole, hauling a 100-pound sled at minus 40 degrees, and I couldn't do that when I was 18. I beat kids who were half my age. I beat kids in their 20s. So I'm so grateful. And that's the easy part. This video is not about the good things that you're grateful for, although that's fine. It's absolutely fine to be grateful for the good things that you are grateful for. But you know what's the tough one, and it's the real lesson of this video? You need to be grateful for everything. Werner Erhard, who created the EST training many years ago in the 1970s, said that this is what it's like when it's working. This is what it's like when it's working. In other words, without thinking about it, you and I used to have the idea that when everything's going great, life's working. And when things aren't going great, life isn't working. But no, Werner said this is what it's like when it's working. So how can, when things are, quote, bad, can that be working? And here's the answer. Here's the really amazing answer that I've learned. That you've heard the line, nothing happens except by plan, that you chose it. If you're responsible enough, you claim that you chose it. That if you want to talk about past lives, then in the life between lives, you decided to have this lifetime. Well, if all this is so, then you decided to have the good times and the bad times, and you didn't decide to have the bad times just for fun, just so you could hurt yourself. You decided to have the bad times for a purpose. And Leonard Cohen, possibly the greatest poet that Canada has ever produced, has one line in his song Anthem that just is so beautiful, but so hard to understand. He said, everything has a crack in it. That's how the light gets in. Everything has a crack in it. That's how the light gets in. And what that means to me is, it's only when things are shaken up. It's only when things break. It's only when things appear to not be working. It's only when things really hurt. That's when the light gets in. See, you can afford to be arrogant, for example, if no one ever challenges you. If you're so rich that people will bow down to you just because you're rich and you're arrogant, then you can get away with your arrogant. If you lose all your money, suddenly that crack, that loss, that pain of the money loss, you can't be arrogant any longer. No one will put up with it. And so when I was young, I talked way, way, way too much. I wouldn't let anybody else in on the conversation. It must have been horrible to try to have a conversation with me. And I was very cold. I didn't really care about anybody else. I'm telling you the truth. I'm being very transparent. And in my divorce, and I'm not mad at my ex, I'm actually expressing gratitude, because that divorce was the greatest pain I ever had. The 2 years or so of that divorce was the greatest pain. Not that my ex-wife inflicted it, but she hired a lawyer who knew how to do it. And I'm grateful, because people used to call me cold. People used to call me heartless. And after that divorce, people saw me different. They said, wow, you're so warm. You love to hug so much. You let the magic talking stick roam around the people who are talking instead of grabbing the talking stick all the time and talking. And so I had to have that. I had to have that lesson. I had to have that lesson to grow. And so here's what happens to me. When something, quote, bad happens, car accident, heaven forbid, or loss of a loved one, one of our cats died recently, I do the normal grief. Everyone, we're human. We have to do the normal grief. But then really soon I say to myself, how could I create gratitude for that? How can that be a good lesson? Because if the greatest pain I ever experienced, the divorce pain, was a great lesson that I'm grateful for, and I would never want to go back to who I was before that divorce, then every single thing I view as a positive. As weird and contorted as it is, I look for how I could be grateful for it. Because if during the horrible pain of the divorce, I said, well, this will make me better because I'll like to hug people more, I'd say, what? That's crazy. But that's what happened. And so when times are good, when you love your spouse and you love your kids and you love your home and you love your car, it's easy to be grateful. But minor lesson number one, be grateful. There's a lot of people who have a lot of blessings and they're not grateful at all. But lesson number two, the tougher one, when life, quote, isn't working, when you perceive this is the, quote, bad times, that's when to look for the silver lining. And that's my be grateful lesson.